Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Naheed Oberfeld. I'm really glad to have anybody who's watching this live and also to all the people who are going to be listening to this recording in the replay. The purpose of these monthly webinars that I do is really to help all of us become conscious creators. What does conscious creation actually mean? It means to be able to take your goals, your big dreams, your desires. It might be something tangible. It might be something that you're working on within yourself. Greater confidence, ability to do things that you enjoy more. So it really doesn't matter what it is that you're looking to create in your life. It's about helping you get into that emotional space where you're attracting everything that you want to be able to create the life that you desire. My name is Naheed Oberfeld, and I'm a success strategist. I work with business owners, entrepreneurs, corporate employees. It's all about helping you take that big dream, that big goal that you may have for yourself and find that maybe you're not getting there as fast as you would like, or you don't know how to get there. And this is what I do. I help people walk them through these steps that take them to this place of greater success. And it starts from an inner feeling of success, and it's something that people have a hard time understanding. We always think that, oh, I'm going to be happier when, I'm going to feel successful when, or I'm going to feel like I've made some achievements only after X, Y, and Z has already been accomplished. But everything that we know, and there's been a tremendous amount of research on this, and there are also lots of successful people who tell us this, it really starts by first feeling inside of you. As I say, success is an inside-out job. You've got to start from inside. So how do I help people get to that place of success? And these are the 3 tips that I give people every time we meet. Step 1, it's really important to uncover and acknowledge what it is that you truly and authentically feel inside of you. What do I mean by that? Lots of people come to me and they say that, yeah, I feel discouraged or I feel depressed, but I try to just push it down. Because those aren't pleasant feeling experiences for us, right? Who wants to keep re-experiencing that over and over again? And I too am a big believer in the power of positive intention. But here's the key. If in your subconscious you are really feeling nervous or anxious or fearful in some way, but all you're doing is you're suppressing that, it really doesn't help by just pretending that all of those emotions don't exist. Why? Because first and foremost, the part of us that determines how we face the day and how we experience our lives is really our subconscious. So if anything, you want the subconscious to be feeling positive. And that's when you're going to start noticing it consciously, but in a more authentic way. And then the second piece that's really important, and I don't think that most people realize, is that in these uncomfortable experiences, there are buried inside of that are patterns. So what do I mean by patterns? So the last couple of months, I've been working with a lot of people related to job and job creation. And as I've been working with them, one of the things that I'm noticing is that each person has his or her own negative patterns related to previous job experiences. And that only comes about, it only gets revealed, if you will, once we start getting into all those negative yeah buts, all those fears, those doubts, those insecurities that we don't allow ourselves to think about. So recognizing these patterns is really important, because if you don't know them, how are you going to shift them, right? That's step 1. So as I said, step 1 is uncovering and acknowledging what's really going on inside of you. And then step 2 is you need a tool, you need a system, a process, whatever you want to call it. You need something that once you've acknowledged it, you need that system to be able to take you through to the other side of it. Now that I know what I know, how do I release it? How do I get over it, right? And for me personally, I use emotional freedom technique. It's also known as tapping, because that's what you're doing, or by its acronym EFT. But there's a lot of stuff out there. And then the third step that is instrumental in us becoming conscious creators is getting into alignment, an inner emotional alignment with what it is that we want to create in our lives. And that's the purpose of these webinars, right? So getting into emotional alignment just simply means your subconscious emotions and your mental beliefs all need to be pointing in one direction. So you cannot say, I want this but, or I would like to create more money, and then have all those fears that, what would I have to give up? Do I have to work even harder? And all the other beliefs that we have about money. Is it going to make me greedy? You know, we all have a bunch of them. So once you remove all those other distractions, you've come into a clear emotional alignment with what it is that you desire. And that's when those manifestations just start happening faster and faster. And that's why I have these free webinars, because it gives us about 45 minutes for today at least to be able to get into that emotional space, which is the most important place that you need to be in order to start having these manifestations. So today I want to talk about something that I've been noticing within myself, and I have a feeling that you probably are noticing within yourself as well. And it's about the quality of time. How many of us are stressed out because there's not enough time, right? Perhaps we feel like there's 100 things to do, and there are only a couple of hours in between for us to actually accomplish this. We all have stress and anxiety about something or the other related to time. There are some of us who feel like there's just too much on our plate. And then there are others who are in the opposite extreme. They want to do something more useful with their time. They want a job, for example. Like I said, I've been working with several clients who are manifesting their ideal job. And they want time to speed up. Some of us want time to slow down. But here's an interesting thing that maybe you weren't quite aware of when it comes to time. It feels so concrete for us, right? I mean, we experience it on a daily basis. We see the hours, we see the minutes ticking by. But the way we experience time actually doesn't even exist. So let me give you a very quick example. If you were on planet Earth and you looked at the passage of time, you measured the passage of time, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and you did the same thing on the moon, right? The two of us had a stopwatch and we started at exactly the same time, something interesting would happen. Time is moving faster for people on the moon than it is for us. So time is actually not an independent construct like we seem to think it is. Time depends on where you are. If you're on a mountaintop, if you're closer to the ocean, if you're away from this planet. It actually, physicists think of time as being a time-space continuum because the two are intricately linked. And as Einstein and many physicists will tell you, time is simply an illusion. Now, it doesn't feel like an illusion when you actually have a deadline and people say, give this to me by 5 o'clock in the evening. But there is something that you do have control over. Because time is not so set in stone as we think it is, you actually have the control over your experience of time. What do I mean by that? You can let your mind wander forward and think about all the 20 things that need to be done on your to-do list, in which case you speed up your experience of time, right? It brings in more anxiety, it brings in more stress, And then instead of focusing on what it is that you're supposed to be doing in this very moment, all you're doing is wasting your precious time and your energy on what's in the future that you don't yet have control over. The flip side is, and we do this, I'm certainly guilty of it, but the flip side of it is if you take a moment, drink your tea, take a few deep breaths, and stop and spend the time that you have in the moment to say, today, and from this time to this time, this is what I'm going to accomplish, without necessarily focusing on the next step and the next step until you get there. When you get there, you focus on the next step. You will be surprised by how much your experience and the quality of your time spent will be so dramatically different than if you were just focusing on all the things that I haven't gotten done. So that's just a short tip that I wanted to give you, especially as we move into the holiday seasons. Crunch time comes in for a lot of us. Maybe there's a lot of work that needs to be done before the holiday seasons get into full gear. So stop for a moment. Anytime you feel that anxiety, I'd like you to stop for a moment and decide consciously. Remember, we're conscious creators on this webinar. So decide consciously how you're going to spend that time. The rest of our time together, we're actually going to be spending doing exercises, because the whole purpose of this is to engage the emotion and not quite as much the mental side, which is what we generally overemphasize. So what I'd like you to do is close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. And the first thing that I would like you to do is focus in on your body. When you think about your stress and your anxiety, especially as it relates to time, but maybe something else is more prevalent for you today, where do you find that stress located in your body? For many of us, it's in the solar plexus area that's above the belly button, but a little bit below the breastbone. It could be the back of your neck and shoulders. So I want you to take a moment and really bring your attention to this space. And hold your focus over there. I'd like you to bring in some warm white light in that area. This is a bright white light, but it's not cold. You can actually feel the warmth in that area. And allow this bright white light to permeate the cells in that area. In every cell that it touches, it transmutes from stressed, anxious, to feeling confident and in control. The biggest reason that we feel stressed and anxious and fearful is because we feel like we are out of control. So really take a moment and allow this bright light to start expanding. Whatever area it is in right now, see it growing. And every cell that it's touching is feeling the joy, is feeling the confidence, feeling the passion and the creativity that you've come to this planet, this experience with. And ask yourself, you want an honest answer. Ask yourself, am I ready just for the next 40 to 45 minutes? Am I ready and am I willing to let go of the stress and anxiety that I'm feeling inside of me? If the answer is no, then just ask yourself, am I ready to let go of a part of that stress and anxiety? Because believe it or not, we do hold on to it for a good reason. And if you are ready, on whatever percentage that you're willing to let go of, just kind of make the decision, I release how much ever, 50%, 100% of my stress and anxiety about time or whatever is coming up for you today, and just sort of let it go, release it. And feel the shift in that space, in that area. All right, so once you've done that, you can open your eyes. And the reason that I wanted you to do this exercise is because I want you to do two things. First and foremost, I want you to be aware of where you carry your stress and tension. Because similar to experiences and emotions that we don't like to feel, when we have stress in our body, we are so used to it. First and foremost, we don't even notice it unless somebody asks us to bring our attention to our body. And then the second part is when we do notice it because it's so high in a given moment, what do? We tend to ignore it. We pretend it doesn't exist. We power through. So before you do any of that, the next time you get into this place where you feel like you're noticing your stomach in knots or your jaw is tightening, take a moment and do this exercise. Bring your attention to that area. Bring this warm white light that you can feel the warmth, and allow that ball of white light to grow in that space. And then finally ask yourself, what percentage of your stress just for today are you willing to let go of? And if you do this regularly, you're going to start noticing that you're training your body to not get into that place of stress. And the moment you do, you can stop and course correct, if you will, as opposed to go through the entire day feeling stressed out and then wondering why you're having a hard time sleeping, or why you may be overeating or undereating, or you're taking out your aggression, if you will, or your frustrations is a better word, on people around you. This cuts out all of that. All right, so now let's move on to the next exercise. This next exercise is always going to be about how can I help you accomplish your big goals. So once again, close your eyes, and I want you to think about a goal of yours that you have. And because we're working with the element of time today, I want you to ask yourself, what part of time, the lack thereof, or too much time is stressful related to this particular goal? In other words, is it that the goal is taking too long to accomplish and that's what's making me stressful? Or is it stressful? So for example, for me, I'm in the process of creating my brand new website and I have the opposite stress. I feel like there's so much to do, there's not enough time for me to get it done. So what part of your goal are you stressed out about time? And what I'd like you to do is we're going to take a journey. Okay? We're going to take a time and space-related journey. Imagine for a moment that you've got your eyes closed. Imagine that you're putting on your spacesuit because we're about to journey out in space. And see yourself with a long hose, an oxygen mask, and a long hose that's connecting you down to Earth. That's your anchor point. This is the part where we are starting this journey of accomplishing this goal of yours. And I want you to see yourself, once you're connected to Earth, and once you know that you've always got that safety line, you'll never be lost, you'll always come back. I want you to see yourself bit by bit hovering over the ground. Just a little bit. Just to kind of see, get your bearings and see what it feels like. You're still just a few inches above ground. And your goal is still there. Nothing's changed about it. Your perspective hasn't changed on it because you're still right in it. But here's something interesting. What you're realizing is that as you go higher and higher and you allow yourself to go higher and higher, what you're noticing is a completely different landscape. Aspects of that goal which felt so daunting, and perhaps you couldn't see round the corner to see what is coming up next to fulfill that goal, now you're beginning to see. So imagine you're just, 20, 30 feet above the ground, and you can see a lot further. Maybe part of your goal requires you to connect with the right person. In fact, I think all of us have goals that require some level of connection. So I want you to see that person kind of moving towards you. Maybe they're driving in a car. Maybe they're about to pick up the phone. Whatever it happens to be, that person is moving towards you in order to make that connection. And you don't even have to know who that person is. It could be somebody you've never met yet. It's the person with the job offer, or it's the person who's going to connect you to the next big opportunity. So take a moment and notice how your perspective has shifted because you've gone a little bit higher. You can see further. Now imagine that you've gone up. You're floating up even further. Allow yourself to get up to the upper reaches of the atmosphere. Now that you feel a little more comfortable, you're still in the confines of planet Earth, but you're above. You're significantly above. And what you're seeing from this perspective is drastically different. Not only have you seen opportunities that are coming to you, from this perspective, I would like you to see you. Who are you, and who do you need to become in order to have this goal accomplished? It might seem like a vague question, but let me give you my example. For me, the answer, anytime I ask, what do I need to shift inside of me? What do I need to change about me in order to get to what it is that I want to get to? The answer is simple. It's bold, and be courageous. I like that word courage because it encompasses so much more than just confidence. Sometimes we don't have confidence, but let's trust in ourselves anyway, kind of thing. So I want you to see yourself going through this experience because you're now the objective observer, observing from this high up. And maybe for some of you, you're seeing your life and how you've shifted and changed over the years to get to where you are today. Think about all the big wins that you've already accomplished. What did it require of you? Perseverance, faith. What did it require of you to get to where you are today? And then as you go further and further out in space, now the quality of time is really beginning to shift. Remember what I said, that time on the moon is not the same as time on Earth. It actually depends on the mass of the object you're on. time on Jupiter is significantly different from time on Earth. So here you are, somewhere in between the Earth and the Moon. Time is speeding up. All those milestones that you may have set for yourself for a goal, those things are happening faster and faster. So if the first step is to connect with somebody, what's the next step and the next step that needs to happen? Imagine visualizing it. You are actually seeing that picture taking place with you back down on Earth, going through this at a faster pace. But it's also being accomplished. So I don't mean that time is moving faster with nothing being accomplished. Remember, this is your perspective. This is your perception of time. It's not just that it's moving, but it's being productive. See those next steps that are opening up for you, because time is moving faster. And with every next step that is unfolding for you in this process, what is shifting inside of you? Who do you need to be, and what do you need to give up? And I mean that not from the perspective I have to give up more free time or I have to give up time with my family. I mean, what inside of you is holding you back from that inner emotional alignment? And that's what I'm asking. Are you willing to give that up? And for some of us, it's belief systems. I'm not right for the job because of this. I don't have the experience or the expertise, or I have too much experience or expertise. Whatever it happens to be, every single one of us has something or the other that makes us feel like we're not going to accomplish what it is. And my question to you is, are you willing to let go of that? Even if there's tremendous evidence proving that you're right, are you willing to let go of that? All right, so now you're going further and further away from Earth, and imagine that you're on the Moon. And I want you to see yourself halfway between where you started off on planet Earth and the goal, and the end result of your goal. Whatever that happens to be. What is your quality of life at this point? What does it feel like to have all these opportunities and know that things are working out for you? Know that there's something coming along around the corner. Know that you have the ability to get exactly what you want. Why? Because you've done it before. This is not your first goal that you're accomplishing, and nor is it going to be the last goal that you're going to accomplish. So I want you to take a moment over here, and this is really important. I want you to feel into that emotional space of how does it feel to know that I'm well on my way. I've already got all these interim things, which is fantastic, and I'm well on my way. See yourself celebrating with loved ones. See yourself doing something in celebration of you. What would you do that would make you feel validated to say, I'm so proud of me because look how far I've come? And I want you to find that in your body, just like we did the earlier time. I'd like you to find where in your body do you feel proud of yourself, accomplished. Allow that feeling to really grow. Develop it and allow it to grow. Imagine that feeling is getting stronger and stronger. You're surrounded by support, even if you don't feel like it. There are people in your life, maybe they're present on this planet, maybe they're no longer present on this planet, but there's always someone who is ready to lend you their support. They believe that you deserve the very best. Feel their love and their appreciation in this moment. And make it tangible. Can you feel it in your body? Do you see it as some sort of light? Do you feel the energy? Is there a color? Is there a texture to it? Make it real for you. And hold that space sacred. This is the part of you that when you're feeling down, or even when you're feeling great, go back to this place and bring this energy in. Know that I hold nothing but the highest regard for you. So when you're in that space and you're having a hard time saying, who can bring me the support? Who's out there for support, to support me? Know that I will be there. And I send my energy to each and every one of you as support. Because nobody is unsupported. So as you're holding on to that energy in your body of love and of support, what emotions are coming up for you in this moment? Are you feeling relaxed, hopeful, joyful? Maybe even creative and passionate. So when I talk about your experience of time, this is what I am referring to. You can choose to feel this way, or you can choose to feel stressed and anxious. But it requires us to be conscious, to be mindful, to be aware, and set intention in how it is we're going to spend the day. So let's go a little bit higher up. We're past the moon. We've gone further past all the big planets. And we're now in the outer solar system. You've already met your goal. The immediate goal is not even that important. It's important for you today. But once you meet that goal, you're just going to move on to the next goal. So it's not about the meeting of the goals that is as vital as your belief and your confidence that you are meeting it. You are doing it one step at a time. Not only have you met this goal, you've met plenty of other goals. Bigger ones, in fact. And life has just become bigger and bigger and bigger for you. And when I say bigger, it doesn't have to be materially big. I mean emotionally, that sense of I'm living a life well lived. That's what I'm referring to. I'd like you to think about where you are now. You made all these big goals. You understand what it feels like to be a conscious creator. What changed and shifted inside of you in order to get to this place where you have a huge, tremendously huge perspective over not only just your life, but how life evolves and how it evolves to always support each and every person? What have you learned from that? Now that you may have one or two things, and maybe nothing immediately comes to you, but keep an open mind. All I'm doing is planting seeds, and sometime within the week or so, some of these things will start sprouting for you. And now that you've learned a few things about you, what it is that you had to give up, maybe old beliefs, old emotions, old storylines, right? We all carry those. And what it is that you have to be in order to accomplish these big goals. The question that I would like to ask you again is, are you ready to do so? Are you ready to make the commitment and to declare that you are moving forward? And again, there's no pressure. There's no right or wrong answer. Maybe it's not 100%, and if it's not 100%, then what percentage? 15, 50, it doesn't matter. The point is you've taken the first step. So announce, declare it out loud if you can. What percentage are you ready to let go of? Even if it's just a little experiment, and you don't have to believe with 100% of you saying that this is going to work, experiment with it and see whether it's going to work for you. Now, I'd like you to do something a bit different. So far, all we focused on is how you feel, what you've gained, and what you've accomplished. Imagine there are one or two, maybe three people in your life who you would like to share that information with. Maybe they're struggling in some way with accomplishing something important for them. Or maybe these are just young people in your lives who haven't had this level of experience. Imagine that you are talking to them. You're not preaching, you're not teaching. You're simply sharing something that you have learned. Don't make it long, but I would like you to imagine that you're sitting in front of somebody. And it could be somebody who's passed away. This is something that you have learned about you that you want to share. So imagine you're sitting in front of this person and sharing something that is important to you, something that you have learned, something that you feel is important to get out there in the world. What would that be? So just like I have been seeding ideas inside of you, even though you've not spoken to anybody face to face, you are in fact seeding this knowledge inside of the person that you intended it for. It would be interesting to hear from anybody if one of these people on their own volition come and ask you questions, or that you share for some reason or the other in response to something that they may have said or done. Share this information that you have inside of you. Because this visualization, no matter what we're visualizing, is powerful. It's a precursor for the next step that you want in your life. That's why this is so powerful. Right? We actually visualize our life into creation. So this is the exercise for today. And I hope that in these last 40 minutes or so, first and foremost, you were able to get into that emotional space of inner alignment. Right? That's step one. And then the second thing that I want to leave you with is the 3 steps, because these 3 steps are really important when it comes to being able to create our lives. Like I said, step 1 is uncover and acknowledge. Without that, it's very hard to take the next step because you don't know what to work on. Step 2 is some process, some system. Like I said, I use EFT to be able to release these emotions that are stuck in the very cells of your body. We now know, even again through research, that we have something called muscle memory. It's the emotion that is retained in the muscles. And then step 3, which is the most important, everything is important, but the most important thing is, how do I get into emotional alignment? I again use EFT to get to that place. I use the law of attraction to do that. I use these meditations. So there are a whole host of tools that are out there. But from my perspective, if we can get more people getting into that good space within themselves, feeling confident, feeling hopeful, feeling joyful about life and what they have to offer, we really have the opportunity to transform this planet and our experience on this planet. So once again, this is Naheed Oberfeld. I look forward to seeing you again at the next webinar. It's always the second Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern Time in the United States. And I will be sending out the replay for this, so do listen to it. And if you have the time and the opportunity, repeat these exercises regularly. Doing it one time is not going to be as powerful as it is if you can do it on a regular basis. And feel free to forward it on to somebody who you think could benefit. Thanks very much, and I look forward to seeing you next time.